being the good, wholesome guy only talks about his favorite video games from his childhood. I'm done. That's the fact that there is no place for positive or optimistic content. From here on out, it's time that I become a completely apathetic person and talk about a game. But I've got a lot more videos coming up. You ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, why not? Out of all the IPs that have had video game tie-ins, the Looney Tunes IP is, in my opinion, the most underappreciated. It's an IP that, for decades, has defined the definition of what a loony, insane cartoon character is. You then put them in any situation, yes, I said any, and you can guarantee that hilarity is around the next corner. And my god, what an IP it is. There's just something fascinating about seeing this cartoon cast survive for decades, seeing them evolve and change into new iterations. That is how you know that Looney Tunes is special. When the character and the cartoons are timeless. And whether you think it's just through its own sheer look, its own charm, or, you know, there's something bigger at play here, you can't deny its impact and popularity. And with said popularity, when video games were hitting the big time, well, what better way for you to enjoy more Looney Tunes action than on your game consoles? Yep, if the title wasn't already a dead giveaway, folks, I'm talking about a Looney Tunes video game today. And right off the bat, the idea for a Looney Tunes video game should be a slam dunk as far as I'm concerned, because the pause for creativity couldn't be any higher. Firstly, they're cartoon characters, you can do anything you want with them. And secondly, by the time Looney Tunes games hit the mainstream, there was already decades of inspiration to pull from, so it should work perfectly fine in a video game format. Just hit the mark with that old-fashioned Looney Tunes feel, have the cartoon cast chew up the scenery, and don't sweat too much on the story. That's not what the brand was known for. Besides, you don't need a good story when all you need is late great Mel Blanc screaming his lungs out. Bottom line, as long as the tunes are doing what they do best, your game will hopefully most likely be praised. And because they are cartoon characters, they can easily fit into almost any genre. Sports games, car racing, Power Stone-esque fighting games, I didn't know about that one. Even a minigame collection on the DS called Duck 'em Up, which is straight up just a playable version of the cartoon with the same name. Actually, no, I actually do own that game. I might do a video on that at some point. But those are not the ones that you'll likely remember. It's the platformers that have our cartoon cohorts in the spotlight and has hundreds of creators detailing their adventures. Games like Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, Duck Dodgers, Taz Wanted, Back in Action, and of course, Sheepdog and Wolf, My Beloved. These are the ones that I remember, and while they never got the same cult classic following as, say, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom or Simpsons Hit and Run, they were still great games, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my personal favourites. A nice, quick, cozy collectathon platformer that is easily replayable for me, and it's one of those magic games that I never seem to get bored of no matter how many times I play it. So, what's up, Doc? What kicks off the events of this loony Bugs Bunny and Taz video game? Oh, do you think it'll be on the same level of critically acclaimed storytelling that we saw in Lost in Time? What? You don't know the story to that game? Oh, dude, man, you're missing out. Here, let me show you a clip. Shawshank Redemption, eat your goddamn heart out! So, what do we have for the sequel? Nothing much to add, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's a Looney Tunes game, guys. I'm not expecting a massive action-adventure movie about an evil corporation who wants to take over the world with the acquirement of a special jewel that turns people into monkeys. Besides, if I just want that, I'll just go back and watch Back in Action again. But either way, the tunes need something to kick off this time-traveling trial, so leave it to Daffy to help us get the ball rolling. After failing to exterminate a mouse that's been giving poor Granny some hassle, Daffy ducks up and disrupts the time regulator, sending him, the time gem, into God knows when in time. So, we need a hero to fix it, and fast. Quick! Golden Gear! Find us a hero and give him a head concussion!
Ouch! Hey, what's going on? There's somebody living down here, you know.
I guess he'll do. So, after Bugs is persuaded into visiting Granny by Taz, she successfully cajoles him into helping her fix the time regulator.
Listen, lady, I'd love to help you, but...
Well, of course you'd love to help. That's the kind of rabbit you are. Warm, generous, giving.
I can't disagree.
Now, I had the misfortune to hire an exterminator who turned out to be nothing more than a silly, goofy Daffy.
Duck.
I love his facial expression here. He doesn't even need to hear the full name and he's all like, yep, that's Daffy, alright. Anyway, during this cutscene, Granny tells Bugs the time regulator is busted because of Daffy's klutziness. She explains that we gotta recover the time gem and collect a bunch of time regulator gears along the way. And to help with that, Granny is sending Taz to tag along with us. Oh, that explains why it's called Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. I get it now! Alright, well, I think I've brought everyone up to speed on what we have to do. Let's get a move on. The clock is ticking, time is of the essence, we've got no time to lose, something other time pun. Now, before we can start duck hunting, we gotta get through the tutorials first in the form of the Greenwich Hub World. But not before Granny gives us a very important item in the form of the magic mirror. Now, for those of you who haven't played this game, let me explain. The magic mirror helps you with two things. The first being that it dictates who controls the camera in two-player mode. Tapping the R1 button will have player 1 send full control of the camera to player 2. In single player, however, tapping this button just changes who player 1 controls. But, more importantly, it can also be used to teleport your buddy straight to you. Yep, no matter where your buddy is on the map, he could be on the other side of the goddamn level. One push of the L1 button has him rocket down next to you at the speed of light. And let me just say this right here and now, yeah, you're gonna be using it. Next up, let's talk about our playable protagonists and what they can bring to the table. And for those of you who have played Lost in Time, then yeah, you'll feel right at home with Bugs. The guy has retained most of his abilities from the previous game. He's still very much a light-footed individual and can use his earcopter ability to glide a short distance with his propeller ears, which actually now sounds like a propeller as opposed to the last game, which sounded like someone was, well, let's just say having a really bad time on the toilet. He's also still limber enough to climb up things like trees and ropes, whereas Taz cannot. And according to Granny, can also jump higher than Taz, but I'm gonna get a bit nitpicky and say that's only because Bugs is taller than him. Oh, poor little guy. That punchy stout frame ain't doing him any favours. But that doesn't mean he can do everything. The guy may have a spring in his step, but he obviously needs a bit of muscle for the tougher jobs. That's where Taz comes in. He's got a ferocious spin capable of destroying structures, and is packing a serious amount of strength needed for interacting with some items that Bugs just isn't strong enough to push or pick up. You get the idea now, don't you? The two twosome need to rely on each other to do things the other one can't. Taz can't climb trees, Bugs can't dive underground until Taz digs up the dirt. Taz can't use any small handheld items because he just eats them. What, you think I'm joking? No, look, here's a clip of Taz eating a bum. But you know what? That doesn't really surprise me. I mean, have you seen what his diet consists of? The guy's got a ravenous appetite. He'll eat anything. Tigers, lions, elephants, buffaloes, donkeys, giraffes, octopuses, rhinoceroses, mooses, ducks, and yes, even rabbits if you let him.
Ouch!
Anyway, enough about the controls. Before we move on to the first hour of the game, I want to talk about Greenwich for a little bit, because personally, I just love how this little hub world was designed. Dotted throughout the area, you have these little sections dedicated to each of the abilities, from tree climbing to sneaking with Bugs, to box interacting and hole digging with Taz. It's all spread out evenly so you know where one tutorial begins and the other one ends. And if this layout sounds familiar to you, that's because it's essentially the same thing that Lost in Time had, a small urban area with each tutorial evenly dotted out. And yeah, you know what? Both of them work well in my opinion. But what I really like about Time Busters and Greenwich in particular is that the tutorials are optional. In the previous game, you still needed to interact with the Merlin signs to get the golden carrot to spawn, and yes, I know you could just skip Merlin's dialogue, but in Time Busters, you can just skip that step entirely. Now, if you're a first-time player, yes, I would recommend that you do listen to Granny, because it's still a collectathon platformer at its core. But it's also doing something a little bit differently. You're basically having to control a moveset for not just a wascally wabbit, but also a manic marsupial as well. So don't feel ashamed if the tutorial takes you a few moments to get your head around things. But even then, I still think the game is welcoming enough to the point where you can just start to piece things together without needing to speak to Tweety. And as a really good design choice in my opinion, if you just want to get a move on, you can do that because the gears are available as soon as you gain control of the duo. Yes, 3D will still pester you with that constant
Over here! Over here!
but you can still fully ignore him and collect the gear without forcing poor Granny to run all over. Granite, seriously, every time you talk to 3D, Granny has to run over to the spot where we are and give us a tutorial. Christ, I'm surprised the poor lady can form coherent sentences without needing to take a breather. I mean, if I were her, I'd be all like, okay, so for this one, you're gonna want to dig a hole open with Taz and then dive underground with Bugs so you can raise the platforms to get the gear. Okay? Okay. Jeez, kid, you know, you could have just skipped the tutorials. Oh my god, I need to lie down. I'm actually feeling lightheaded. Like, yeah, guys, this isn't even a joke. When I had to hyperventilate for this part as like a joke, I'm actually feeling light. Oh god, yep, my lightheadedness is kicking in. Oh god, I'm gonna have to take a break. Hang on. Okay. Next part of the script. Anyway, after collecting all 10 blue gears, Granny sees us up before we venture into the first era. But not before she gives us a few hints about some additional items we'll be collecting throughout the game. I'm gonna skip that, however, because I will be mentioning them later on in this video in some way, shape, or form. Let's just get this adventure started with the first era of the game, the Aztec era.
Out of my way, Rabbit! This is one filthy rich duck coming through.
Come back here, you rockin' frackin' varmint! I wants that treasure! Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
I think he went that way.
You better not be trying to trick me, Rabbit, or we'll be having you for supper with corn and mashed potatoes.
Nice of you to invite me, Doc, but I had a big lunch, so if it's all the same with you, I think I'll skip supper.
Upon entering a new hub area, we get a quick flyby of the level to help us get a lay of the land before being dropped in control of the duo again. Now, assuming you play this game the same way I do, you will immediately walk straight ahead and get pestered by Tweety again. Now, I know earlier on I said that you can ignore all his tutorials, but from this point on, do not ignore him. You will need to talk to him from this point on so that you can unlock new moves necessary for finishing the game. The first of these being the trampoline jump, which sees Bugs use poor Taz as a trampoline to help bounce him up to out-of-reach locations. Yeah, sounds like poor Taz is getting the raw end of the deal here, doesn't it? But, don't worry. In the next era, he'll get something that he can use to enact some revenge. But okay, that's enough about moves for the time being. We're in a new hub world with a new objective. What are we doing here? Well, I am a simple man that prefers simplicity over complication, and I do not doubt that you guys are the same, and thankfully the game doesn't have a bloated amount of collectibles. Obviously, the be-all and end-all objective is to get the time gear back from Daffy, and to do that, we need to find the 3 boss tokens to open the boss level. But also we need to make sure that we're collecting time-regulated gears on top of that, as they are used to, quote, stabilize the time regulator. And more importantly, open up the door necessary to access the next eras for us, because if we don't, well then we can't continue on with the game now, can we? And if we beat a boss without collecting enough, Granny will tell us to go get more gears! Oh man, the nostalgia is already coming back to me. Collecting gears, smashing open the 5 Acme crates for that golden 25 gear, and saving the Lost in Time characters bawling their eyes out. Hey, I wouldn't blame them. I mean, I turn into a nervous wreck whenever I lose track of my mother during a trip to the shops. These guys are another collectible for 100% completion, as saving all 5 of them in an era allows you to collect the 100 crystal gear. And before everyone starts freaking out saying, "Oh no! Escort missions!" we don't need to do anything like that, because according to Granny,
You must find them all and return them to their respective world by just touching them.
These 3 stone slabs look interactable. Wait, is interactable even a word? Why did I write that down in my script if I didn't know if it was a real word? Oh well, I don't care. Let's dig, dive, and dunk these platforms so that we can get both Bugs and Taz onto that switch up top. Which reveals, dun 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 dun, our first boss token, which upon collection flies into the air and slams into one of the slots. Okay, cool, that's 1 out of 3 boss tokens, jolly. Should we go and find the other 2 in the other levels? Whoa, hold your horses there, Speedy Gonzalez. Did you remember to complete the mini challenges for more gears? I'll take that as a no then. Alright then guys, let's get these challenges out of the way first before we move on to the real level. Let's start off with the music memory challenges, as I call them. I won't be talking too much about them because they're essentially the same, just with a different coat of paint. Just remember the button combination and play them back, whether it be on the drums, while ice skating, or during Bellari lessons. The sports challenges, however, can vary slightly differently, with each era hosting a different sport. As an example, in the Transylvanian era, we get to play a game of rugby. In the Arabian era, it's soccer. And in the Viking era, it's hockey. But for now, let's focus on the Aztec era sport. For this one, we have pelota? Wait a second. Guys, I'm not the most experienced when it comes to sports, but this doesn't look like pelota to me. I always thought pelota was that game where you bounce the ball back with that weird curved bat thing. Looking at this sport more closely resembles Olama Litzli, where you have to score a point by getting the ball through the hoop. Yeah, I'm kind of confused here now. Was something lost in translation here? Did Artificial Minded Movement genuinely have a plan to include pelota, or did they just forget to change the name, or... I don't know. I'm probably nitpicking again, so I'll stop. Besides, I promised my doctor that I would reduce my intake of snarky nitpicking. Let's get our free gold gear and be on our way.
We'll crush ya, bunny!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't trash talk. Ever. Because if I have the skill to kick your ass, I'm gonna kick it hard, and it's gonna look really embarrassing. Okay guys, last bit before we move on to the Baboon Realm. I promise this is the last thing that I need to do. In every central area, there are these little bonus areas that contain more gears, and these little areas contain a little puzzle. Sneak Peek, for instance, has us using our newly acquired trampoline jump to help bugs wade down this switch to get the platforms to rise. But, like the name suggests, we gotta be sneaky on them because they're about as sensitive as bruised knees. Next one is the Matching Blocks puzzle, and if you're playing this in 2-player, well, I feel really sorry for the player who has to control bugs because they are completely useless for this puzzle. Yep, for this one, we've got ourselves a task-exclusive puzzle where we have to push the color-coded blocks into the correct areas. Overall, it's an okay first hub world puzzle, but still, it's a shame that this puzzle wasn't designed with both players' abilities in mind. Man, I really wish there was a puzzle that did capitalize on the duo's abilities. Well, funny you should say that, Jolly, from a week ago, because the Catch the Monkey challenge does exactly that. For this puzzle, we need to get 5 monkeys weighing down on the button so that we can gain access to the Gold 25 gear. And to do that, we need to get bugs to climb the trees because Taz can't do it, kick the monkeys off the trees, swap to Taz because bugs can't pick them up for some reason, pick them up and carry them over to the button. And in that one instance, you have successfully used both characters effectively, and the game has rewarded you for it. See, this is a good puzzle. You know the objective, and you have to use both characters' abilities to complete it. Sure, it doesn't take a genius, but it's a well-made puzzle that tests your knowledge on the basics that you learned back in Greenwich. Okay, guys. You've been very patient with me. I just want to thank you for that. Now, though, we can finally start an actual level with the Baboon Realm. In this level, we gotta get into the monkey's lair that's shaped like a giant monkey's head. And to do that, we gotta feed these tiki statues a coconut. Use Taz to spin the statues and lock them into place before having bugs throw a coconut in its hoover mouth, which gets one of the eyes to light up. Before we move on to the next set of statues, it should be in our best interest to do a little bit of exploring. We've got this pool of water here, for instance, that is absolutely swimming with piranhas. All 2 of them. Fun fact as well, these things used to terrify me when I was a kid. Whenever I fell into the lake, I would panic scramble out of there, spam jumping out of the water so I wouldn't get bit. Nowadays, I don't know why I found these things so scary. They're extremely slow, can be outswam with ease, and if they do attack you, they only take off 1 chunk of your 6-chunk health bar. You wanna know a funny thing as well? What you're supposed to do is throw bombs at them so that they blow them up, making the area safe to swim in. Yeah, for this playthrough, I just dove straight in and collected all the gears, taking only 1 point of damage. Why did I think that these guys were scary again? They look more dopey than anything else. Hell, you wanna know a truly terrifying piranha experience? Play Sheepdog and Wolf. Now, the piranhas in that game are terrifying. Anyway, back to those tiki statues. Follow this bridge here to find the second set of statues. First verse, same as the first, except now we're on a time limit. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time. I believe in you guys, you can do it. After that, cross the second bridge to get to the switch necessary to open up a new era of the level. Don't fall off the bridge like I did and then immediately call your partner down, or else both of you will have to take the walk of shame back up. After pressing the switch, the third set of tiki statues should be opened up to you. Yeah, you know the drill by now. And after that, the entrance? Seriously, what the hell would you call this? The more of the monkey statue door just open. You know what? I'm not going to question it. It looks really cool in-game. The door is open. We're ready to take on the boss. But not before we do a little bit of gear cleanup. I always like to go through this before I leave any level for good, so I never have to come back later on for cleanup later. And if you're like me, you know for a fact that there's a sneaky 25 gear hiding on the lip of the waterfall before you go over. Watch out for this one though, because for some strange reason, the waterfall forces you to the left, so you kind of gotta position yourself to the right of it before the current pulls you in. But don't worry about missing your chance. You don't have to trek all the way back up to the top of the waterfall if you miss. Remember, you have the magic mirror to summon your buddy back up to you, so just position your partner in a safe area and have as many goes as you want. Oh, one moment guys, just gotta collect this last guy. I think I know exactly where it is. Aha! I knew I missed one of you down here. Alright then guys, everything's been dusted off. Let's head into the boss fight. Jolly, are you sure you didn't miss anything? You're still missing a 25 gear for the full 500. You can't see my face at the moment, but just imagine me giving you a smug, all-knowing smile. Don't worry, buddy. I'm well aware. We'll get our last 25 gear in just a moment. Alright, you damn dirty ape, it's time to meet your match. And you know what? I didn't realize this until just now, but we defeat him in a very similar fashion to Conga the Ape in Banjo and Kazooie. Yeah, wait for him to throw items on the switches. The difference being is what happens after, however. In Banjo and Kazooie, we defeat him by having Kazooie vomit a few eggs at him before he relinquishes the Jiggy. But in this game, we can just enter the temple and collect the boss token. Yeah, that's all we need to do. We can be on our way. But hold on a minute. Don't we deserve to enact a little bit of revenge on this bumbling baboon? Yeah, we do, don't we? So...
I can feel it now. It is burning. 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 Say, something is burning around here.
No!
Thanks for the time there, Donkey Kong looking radiant! And would you look at that, that leaves us with only one more level, the Sacred Ride, where we ride a dragon. And if anyone wants to make comparisons to Crash Bandicoot's Hog Wild level, just don't, guys. Please. You don't have to compare everything to the more popular game here. Let's see if the comparison's for later. And by later, I mean a literal 2 minutes later, because this level actually ends off with what feels like a Crash Bandicoot-inspired chase event that has us running away from a tidal wave of lava. That's metal as hell! You know what? I'm calling it. Sacred Ride tops boulders for this spectacle alone. I mean, all Crash does is run away from a boulder, whereas we're running away from a natural disaster. What a square! But with that, we've now got all 3 boss tokens, which means we can climb the massive Aztec structure in the central area and start our first boss level, Sam's Temple. Upon entering the level, the game gives us this warning. Yeah, for this one, keep your buddy close by because you won't be able to summon him using the magic mirror. So, kinda sounds like a bummer, doesn't it? Being unable to summon your buddy whenever means that you constantly have to keep swapping and shuffling them through the temple. Well, don't worry, folks. I've got a trick up my sleeve. Throughout this video, you may have noticed that my idle partner sometimes moves on their own. And first of all, no, do not panic, it's not the gameplay in itself, although that would be kind of freaky if it did. This is actually me controlling the second character with the right stick. Yep, if you have a DualShock controller on PlayStation 1, you can control the idle character's movements if you need to position them in a certain way. You can't make them jump or attack or do anything like that, but if you know how to use them like I do, you'll find that it can help cut down on the need for needless character swapping, and they can also pick up collectibles as well, if that helps to sweeten the pot. Is it necessary? Well, unfortunately the manual doesn't think so, but sod him, what does he know? I guarantee you that you will find a good use for it in your playthrough. Like in this level, right here. Haha, nice try, Sam's Temple, but you're not wasting my time because I've got 2 stick nipples, 360-degree movement, and I can do this! The power is in my hands. Huh, looks like we gotta burn these ropes to open the door. You know what? Wouldn't it be funny if the game allowed me to squish Taz while he's under the brick? Hey, don't look at me like that, okay? The devs were the ones who prompt grabbed that in. They wanted me to squish Taz with a rock. They're just as guilty! Continuing on, we eventually get to this room with the water fountain, which we need to turn to fill the empty basin. There are 2 passageways accessible only by either Bugs or Taz. For Bugs' section, we get a place of metal, yeah, solid. for Taz, we gotta get through this absolute cluster. Well, good thing I brought an umbrella. Okay, the pools have been filled, it's time for our first boss fight, Yosemite Sam, who at the time of our arrival is straight up sacrificing Daffy to their sun god Inti. I mean, I would be a little more shocked, but honestly, I know for a fact that this is going to be nothing to him. In fact, in the next few years, he's going to be going through a whole lot worse, so yeah, don't worry guys, he can take it. Probably. Right, boss fight time. To start off this fight, we have to push those stone pillars into place first, which gets Sam to reappear in the room. After that, all we gotta do is tire him out, give him a swift kick in his horny toads to get him to drop the torch, and set the 3 ropes alight to reveal the time gem. Sorry to pressure you, Sam, but we're in a bit of a rush, and we gotta go. Well, I mean, I would say that, but of course Daffy darts in at the last second and re-steals the time gem. Yeah, get used to that, folks. This is gonna happen another 2 times, unfortunately. Sending both him and us to our next destination in time, the Viking era. Oh, and before you leave, don't forget to pick up that 100 gear if you found all the Lost in Time characters, okay? Okay. Right. Now we're off to the Viking era.
Gold!
Stop, ignoble duck! Don't you know that no one shall touch the legendary hammer of Thor?
Sorry, Thor. I'll just, slowly back away from the hammer. Hey, wait a minute! You're a shrimp! Let me at that hammer!
I'm Elmer Fuddinson, guardian of the hammer of Thor, and I order you to turn back.
Oh yeah? You and what army, then?
Hey guys, you want to see something cool? Hey guys, you want to see something even more cool? Okay, so before we start hitting the slopes, there are 3 new moves that Jewel can learn in this era. Let's start off with, and yes, this is the name, don't question me on this, the Throw Bugs action.
I don't think I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it doesn't have a creative name like the Hair Hurl or anything like that, it's just called Throw Bugs, where we throw bugs. But ignoring all the sarcasm there, I'm pretty sure it's got to be useful for something, right? Yeah, you know what? Let's give it a try. Now we're even. So, similar to Aztec, we gotta collect the boss tokens to unlock the boss level. But unlike Aztec, Viking actually has us doing something a little bit different. If you remember, Aztec had us climb onto a building and press a button, but in Viking, a cutscene shows this statue sink into the ground and a door closing on the boss token. And that symbol right there looks too important to be ignored. We'll get around to that later though, because for now, we have our second move to learn, Pull a Face, which can scare away enemies similar to the, move from Rayman. However, similar to Rayman, this is also a move that doesn't get much use from me. I used it a total of like once to get footage for it and never used it again. Well, I say I never used it again, I never used it on an enemy again, but I did use it during the Save the Druid puzzle, where we have to scare this elephant off a druid who is in a perilous pachyderm predicament, as I call it. Yeah, don't get many of those nowadays. So, we gotta find a way to scare the elephant off the poor guy. And what are elephants afraid of, according to a cartoon cliché? Why, mice, of course! And I don't know if this was intentional, but the model artificial mind and movement used for the mouse looks an awful lot like Hubie the mouse from those old Looney Tunes cartoons. Not 100% certain if that was intentional, but kudos to A2M all the same for this cute little reference to a long-forgotten character of the Looney Tunes series. What I do know for certain is that this has got to be the same mouse that caused the whole problem in the first place. Yeah, look, the model's the same, it has to be him! You know what? Screw it. Let's get some revenge on this little twerp. Let's constantly scare the crap out of him and herd him into the elephant so we can get a 25 gear. Next up on the list, the snowball fight requires us to get a gear on the other side of the frozen lake. And to do that, we need to, borrow some ice cubes from the Vikings to make an ice bridge. But, uh-oh, jolly, they're holding onto shields. Whatever will we... Oh, never mind. He lowered his shield to laugh at us, leaving him wide open to attacks. 5 ice cubes later, and that's another 25 off the list. Let's move on to our third new move in this era, the Super Roll. Holding down the square button has Bugs do this charge up animation before rolling into a ball. From here, he's also able to roll into small holes and break open containers. Let's actually put it to good use though with the ring and roll challenge. Jump on the switch and remember the order that the gates light up. With the third room changing things up a bit by having us roll around a room filled with iron boxes that Taz can pick up and make the route easier for bugs. Didn't stop me though! Okay, so we're almost done with the central area. Let's now finally get that boss token. Remember those statues from earlier? Well, get bugs to dive underground and bump them so that Taz can push them to the correct symbol. And when all 5 click into place, the door will be zapped open. Okay then, let's move on now. After some ice skating lessons and a quick game of hockey with the locals, I'm not really a fan of traditional hockey if I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm more of a cat hockey guy myself. We're hitting the slopes with the shield race, where we're essentially tobogganing down on the mountains on a shield. And in order to win the boss token, we have to beat the 2 Vikings racing us. This isn't going to be a problem for you. Just hold up on the D-pad or analog stick and have Taz throw snowballs at them to slow them down. What will be a problem is getting everything on the level, because the shield controls can be a little... what's the word? Loose, I think the correct word is. When on the shield, pressing left or right doesn't turn you. You instead snap in that direction, meaning that 9 times out of 10, you're cautiously tip-tapping the left or right analog stick to make slight adjustments to your path, and most likely missing your intended target anyway because the controls are so goddamn slippery. Wait! Slippery, yes! That was the correct word that I was thinking of. Slippery. I gotta write that down for next time. To put it simply, you're not going to get all the collectibles on your first go. It's impossible, because unlike Sacred Ride, there's this part here that splits off into 2 paths that both need to be covered in order to collect everything. So some wise words from me to you, just keep it simple. On your first go around, just focus on beating the Vikings. If you can collect a few gears along the way without losing your lead, awesome, good for you. You're better than me at Shield Race on Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. Don't let your ego swell too much. Second time round though, take it slow and collect the gears earned from passing through all the gates. If you make a mistake, you either need to leave the level and come back in, or finish the race and have another go. So yeah, take that part slow. And third time around is gear cleanup. Just once again, take it slow and catch all the gears that you missed out on. Oh, and God help you when you need to come to collect this 25 gear on the snow speed bump. It is a pain in the pants to get this one if you're a first time player. But I'm not a first time player, am I? Ah, I see where Sonic 06 got its snowboarding physics from now. Alright, last part for the Viking era, and I think I've saved the best till last. We're now heading off to our main level, the Moon Village, and brace yourself, folks. If you were to ask me, Jolly, do you have a favourite level in Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters? I would say... What? Dude, that's a really specific thing to ask me out of the blue, you know. No, hey, Jolly, how's your day been? No, just straight to the weirdly specific questions with you, huh? Well, I mean, since you asked, I would say that it would have to be Moon Village. Don't get me wrong, I think all the levels in this game are memorable in one form or another. In fact, there's actually a level in the Transylvanian era that I think is a really good standout, but it doesn't top the spectacle that is Moon Village. For starters, the music track is brilliant. It's this calm, somber piece with a hint of mystery to it. And it's one that feels like it can fit into almost any other game, in my opinion. It reminds me of those tracks from Symphony of the Night, actually. And you know what? While we're here, let's give some love to the other tracks as well. Yeah, it may not fit the whole, Looney Tunes vibe that the IP was known for back in, say, Lost in Time. I mean, Lost in Time has a lot of, goofy, that kind of music vibe going for it. But when it comes to atmospheric soundtracks and making a track that just fits, composer Giles Levile hits that goddamn bullseye. Damn, okay, Jolly, we get it. You've synced your point. The OST is brilliant. Thank you for your enthusiastic script reading. So, what about the level then? Oh, right, I forgot we still have a level to play. Oops. So, upon entering the area, we get a cutscene showing this guy running onto his ship. The drawbridge raises and the stone slab rotates. And if you would take a look at the inscription, the path will open when the light strikes. Well then, this shouldn't take a genius, at least I hope not. Get those 3 stone slabs and flip them round so that the light is shining on the moon symbol below, which lowers the drawbridge a little bit. Okay, that's one, but we still have the other 2 to get through. Oh, hold on guys, there's a Lost in Time character over there, just give me one moment. Whoops, well, clearly that's not gonna work. Don't worry guys, I have another plan. Alley-oop! Fine, we'll do it your way, game. We'll go to the top first, and then we'll save him. Jeez, you can be such a spoilsport sometimes. At this point, you'll know you've reached the end of the level when you see this part here with the bolted down spin wheel. Give the pegs a whack with a hammer and spin the wheel with Taz to reveal a catapult that sends us rocketing to the 3rd slab. Don't try this at home, kids. These 2 are professional cartoon characters that can take this kind of punishment. Alright, time for the boss fight. And for this one, you're gonna need an umbrella again because he's chucking bombs at us. Ha! Big mistake, you villainous Viking, because if the bombs bounce on the shield that Taz is holding, we can make these bombs safe to pick up and throw them right! Destroy all 6 of the shields attached to the boat and witness the captain go down with his ship. Collect our boss token and, don't forget to break open that ice cube with the captain still inside for that last 25 gear. Besides, he's not gonna need it. Now, onto our boss fight into Elma's domain. Be warned for this level, the level takes place on top of these towers, and should you take a bad jump or do something stupid like high dive off the platforms when you have no idea what's beneath you, no second chances. So please, from your good buddy Jolly, take your time and maybe don't imitate those Olympic high divers. Huh, have you ever tried bowling? Well, yeah, game. I mean, I've played Wii Sports before, if that's what you're getting at. Oh, I get you now.
Nice throw!
Oh my god, Daffy's alive?! The last time we saw him, he looked like he suffered instant rigor mortis!
You're after the golden hammer, aren't you? Well, you can't have it. It's mine, mine, mine!
Say, Taz, did you order roasted duck?
Bugs, the guy looks like he's been burnt to a crisp. Now, if he was roasted, he would have a nice golden brown glow to him. Damn it, now I'm hungry. Alright, time for our boss fight with Elma Fuddinson. We gotta interact with these switches in some way to lower the platforms, either by jumping, spinning, thumping them from below, or letting lightning hit the button. After all platforms are lowered, wait for Elma to leave himself open to attack, give him a kick, or spin, and have Bugs grab the hammer, because we all know what Taz is gonna do. And give one of those switches a whack. Do that 4 more times, and yeah, that's that. The error is complete. Daffy steals the time gem again, but that means we're off to a whole new world! The Arabian era. Alright, Street Rabbit and Street Devil, before we start exploring, we need to get those 2 new moves before anything else. Taz's Super Spin and Bugs' Snipe Mode. The Super Spin is essentially Taz's version of Bugs' Super Roll. Just hold down the button and... spin! Meanwhile, with Bugs' Snipe Mode, Bugs is now able to shoot carrots at enemies and objects. The ammo does come from the amount of carrots you currently have, however, and bearing in mind that these carrots are also used as currency to access bonus challenges, so yeah, word of advice, always keep yourself topped up on ammo. Before continuing on, however, I just want to bring up the Lost in Time characters again, because from now on, these guys aren't going back to their home areas to fight. They won't be sitting in a corner with the waterworks on full blast anymore. They'll actively run away from you or be a little bit sneaky and dive into holes in the ground. Just a word of warning because I'm nice like that, and I like helping you guys. Anyway, on to the boss token, and like with the Viking era, there's another puzzle to solve. Dotted around the Arabian era are these elemental temples that each have a genie trapped in them, while 3 and all 4 will reward us with that boss token. Gee, a puzzle platform where you have to rescue 4 genies of the elements. I've never heard that one before. Actually, now that I think about it, I genuinely haven't heard that one before. Huh. Good on you, A2M. Way to be original. So, what do we do in these temples to free the genies? Well, the Air Temple has us make a bridge of air for bugs to ride on to free the Earth Genie. The Earth Temple has the duo saving the Wind Genie by bumping platforms. We rescue the Fire Genie from the Water Temple, mind the piranhas. Ow! And finally, the Water Genie is saved from the Fire Temple by having us do some platforming. That's a snap. Platforming's my middle name after all.
Ouch! 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 Ouch!
Yeah, I know, I'll turn in my gamer certificate after I'm done with the video. Well, with the boss token acquired, next up are the 2 puzzle challenges. Well, I say puzzle challenges. I mean, would you consider having to spin plates on a stick of puzzle? What about smashing pots in order of where the monkey pops his head out? Well, either way, it's needed for 100% completion, so whether you call it a puzzle or not does not concern me. Anyway, we've collected all the gears in Sunset Alleys, and can I just say, I love the name of that level. It sounds like a level in one of the Spyro games, actually. Anyway, next up, we're off to Carpet Chase, where we gotta beat this lamp thief to the end of the level. You can use coconuts to slow him down and knock out any enemies who are flying the wrong way. Bonk! Don't forget as well, you gotta fly through those tapestries, because doing so will award you with a 25 gear, similar to the gates in the Shield race. Controls are a little bit better. We're not slip-sliding all over the place anymore, making it easier to collect the gears and position yourself where you need to go. But if you, for whatever reason, miss a gear, or you miss out on one of the tapestries, well, I do have a solution. Hey, if it works, it works. Let's now finish off our boss token collecting with the Royal Gardens, and the gimmick for this level is that we need to get the 3 magic pearls back to these stone statues. And where are each of these pearls, you're probably wondering? Why, stuck in 3 different segments of the gardens. Now at first, in order to even access level, we have to play the correct notes to open the first gate, revealed to us in the form of the PlayStation 1 face button symbols. But after that, we've got a choice of 3 areas to go over. Press one of the buttons, race inside before the time limit's up. And don't worry, you're given plenty of time. And from here, we gotta play the flute again to make the rope grow from the pot in the classic snake charmer cliche. The problem is that we don't know what the sequence is yet, so we gotta solve a little puzzle. The red garden has to dig underground and bump these stone blocks to reveal the sequence. Also, I just realized while playing this part again, you can actually control Taz while Bugs is playing the sequence. Yeah, I've got nothing to say that, I just thought that was really funny. Let's move on to the blue garden next. Don't forget the Lost in Time character hiding behind the building as well. Inside is our next pearl, and what we have to do is throw Bugs through the rings to reveal the code. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I guess it can be a little bit dangerous considering that the pool beneath the rings is filled with piranhas. But remember guys, you've got the magic mirror. Just throw Bugs through and if he falls into the water, just summon him back. He won't suffer any damage. He's fine. He's a cartoon character. He can take it. If he's been flung by a catapult and bitten by a Tasmanian devil, he can survive anything. Last up is the yellow garden, and right here, you're going to see exactly why I go for the moose first before entering any level. The sequence is being played in that music box being held by this guy, and he's not willing to give it up. Heck, even kicking him won't have him relinquish it. So what we gotta do is wait for him to walk onto the anvil and use the snipe mode to pop the balloon. Don't worry, the guy will be fine. Hopefully. Anyway, play the sequence, grab the last crystal, and the boss token is ours. And now, we can go on to the boss level of Baba's Cave. This boss level is all about exploring the cave and finding these lion heads on the walls. Why? Well, because they're hungry and you gotta feed them carrots to get one of the stone pillars to rise. No, I'm not joking. Stop looking at me like that. I assure you I'm not high. Just another word of warning though, each room has a way to interfere with the feeding process. There's this one here that has bats flying out of the mouth that will block your carrots. There's this one here where you have to get Taz to spin the switch beforehand. And there's this one here that has the piranhas eat the carrots if you don't time your shots. When all the platforms are raised, the mouth opens, and we can take on Baba Chop.
Save me! Here, have a dime.
Baba Chop!
I think that guy could use a little vacation.
Ooh! Might I recommend Pismo Beach? It's lovely this time of year. For the boss fight, it's nothing complicated at all. Have Bugs hold down one of the switches while Taz fools Baba into running under the floating treasure chest. After a thorough head concussion, pick him up and throw him at one of the gongs. Do that 4 times and the error is complete. Yes, Staffy unfortunately steals the time gem again, but thankfully, it's for the last time because now, we're heading off to the final era of the game, Transylvanian.
Now where am I? Pretty creepy place to live, unless you're a disgusting vermin. Say, what do you know? This nightmare is an exterminator's dream! Gotcha!
No, I got you.
Mother... Ah!
Hi everyone. I'd just like to pause this video to let everyone know, please don't drink any green glowing mysterious liquids if you're trapped inside a Count's castle. You don't know what those liquids could be, and they could be very dangerous to your health. This has been a public service announcement from me, Jolly. And remember the golden rule. If it's green, it must be mean. Alright folks, you should know how I like to do things by now. Let's get that new move first. The bubblegum flight move has Taz eat some bubblegum from a dispenser, blow a bubble, which makes him fly. And yes, you'll need it, because atop the building where we get the move, we need to get bugs to shoot down the last set of Lost in Time characters. The Aztecs have somehow learned how to fly by spinning their spears like a propeller. And before anyone makes this joke, yes, they do indeed fly now. So, Jolly, what's our objective to getting the boss token, then? I'm glad you asked, voices in my head. So, dotted around the hub area, you may have noticed these roided-out Frankenstein's monster-looking lugheads who are antagonistic towards you. Well, if you get them to follow you under the brain transfer machine, you can actually swap brains with them and actually take control of them. And let me just say, as a kid, I thought that this was really cool at the time, turning into these big, unstoppable brutes breaking open the color-coded bricks for more gears. I thought that was really cool. There's just one problem, though. They're slower than me trying to think of a witty insult about how slow they are. Yes, I know they're necessary for finishing the game, but if I'm going to be honest with you, just try to minimize your time under control of these guys. They must be a speedrunner's nightmare. Anyway, after all 3 bells are rang, the gate is open and our first boss token is ours. And after a quick round of rugby for another 25 gears, we're off to the Haunted River, where Bugs is surfing on a Tasmanian devil-powered plank of wood. Did I mention that Looney Tunes can get wacky sometimes? Yes, I probably did, didn't I? For this level, we're doing the exact same thing like in all the other ride levels. Make it to the end, collect the gears, and avoid hazards along the way. However, this is the last ride level, which means that this game is going to go throw everything it can at you to make it tricky. For starters, there's a lot of one-shot traps that you have to avoid, whirlpools that will drag you down without a method of escape, and crocodiles, or alligators, I can't tell, that will break your raft in one snap. The gears you have to collect are also in very dangerous areas as well that will require you to either jump over or duck under these spears. You've got bats flying at you, these hands that will take a swipe at you, you've got these stalagmites in the water and falling from the ceiling, and if that wasn't already bad enough, there's no checkpoints, which doesn't sound like too much of an issue at first. I mean, Carbichers didn't have any checkpoints, but it just feels like it's going to be a problem. I mean, in this level in particular, everything feels like it's going at a slower pace, and the level is bigger than Carbichers as well, in my opinion. So if you need to grab a collectible at the very end of the level, you need to be careful, because one bad mistake can reset your run. And prior to my knowledge given out on me, there's no way to speed up. It's just one speed, and that speed is a slow merry jaunt as the black void of the river slowly creeps me out and gives me thalassophobia. Seriously, I can't be the only one that gets kinda unnerved by the black inky void of nothingness that we're surfing on, right? I don't even know if that's the right word. Is thalassophobia even the right phobia that I'm thinking of? It's like when you're scared of just like this like an empty void of things. I think it was thalassophobia. I looked it up on Google and I don't even know if that's correct. Anyway, let's keep moving. Enough about phobias for the time being. Right, that's that done. Now, onto our final boss token, which can be found inside Zoomania. And remember earlier when I said that the Transylvanian era had a really cool level with an interesting gimmick? Well, this is the one. And you know what? I was going to spoil it for you, but then I thought, let's keep it a secret and let's go through the level together. So, as you're going through Zoomania, you may have noticed that some of the time-regulated gears are locked behind cages with monkeys, and you're probably thinking to yourself, that's weird, I can't really gain access to these cages at the moment. Yeah, well, don't worry about that for the time being. Let's not waste our time here. They're not ready to be collected just yet. Let's just focus on our goal. Here, we're in the center of the zoo, and we gotta use Bugs' snipe mode to get the weather vane to point at the enclosures, opening them up. From here, each of the 4 enclosures has a button we gotta press, which advances the time closer to night. And when the clock strikes midnight, the zoo undergoes a hideous transformation. Forget the cheery green grounds of the zoo we knew in the morning. It's late at night, the music has changed, and the animals have undergone a almost Mr. Hyde-esque transformation. The bird has transformed into a pterodactyl, the fish have transformed into a piranha, the flora now has an insatiable hunger for rabbit, and as for the monkeys... Yep, I feel you, my guy. If I were turned into a monstrous abomination of myself, I wouldn't be happy either. From here, everything is opened up to you now. The cages have been ripped open so we can collect the rest of the time gears. But what about the boss token? Well, when you're ready to collect the boss token, make your way over to the now man-eating plant enclosure and get Taz to use his bubblegum flight move to reach the top of the enclosure, where we now have to take on this thing, a three-headed man-eating plant. But don't worry, folks, there's an easy solution to this that, surprisingly enough, doesn't involve using a weed whacker. Kick open these Venus flytraps to reveal a shrinking pill. 3 Venus flytraps, 3 shrinking pills, and 3 plants. Yeah, you should know the drill by now, folks. Show these plants the meaning of downsizing and collect your final boss token. And now we're off to the Count's Castle, the final boss level. But don't worry about having to deal with tricky jumps or tough as nails platforming, it's actually surprisingly tame. You've got 3 rooms to get through before the boss. The first one is pretty straightforward. Hop on this chandelier trap thing, ride to the top and flip the switch. 1 down, now for the next room, where we've got to make these dragons sneeze to boil the cauldron. Why? Don't worry, you'll see. But jolly, how do we make the dragons sneeze? If only they had some kind of cartoon cliche way to make them sneeze. Okay then, would you prefer that I use a feather, or do you want me to grind some pepper over their nostrils? Feather sounds okay. Alright, feather it is, and lucky for us, there's a resident of the Transylvanian era running around with one in his hand. But he ain't gonna give it up so easy, so what you're gonna want to do is surround him. Have both Bugs and Taz corner him on either side. And if you have to, use the dual shock stick to control your partner, close in, and then... Now, we may have the feather, but we're still up against the clock here. Beforehand, make sure Taz stand on top of the cauldron and get Bugs to make the dragon sneeze. When all 3 dragons are well and truly... sneezed, I guess, the cauldron will overflow, allowing Taz to press the switch to dispense a bubblegum machine for extra gears, and to flip the 2 extra switches to access the 3rd and final room. On both sides of the room, you'll see a painting of 4 color-coded skulls, and we also have those same colors represented as candles as well. Green, red, yellow, blue reveals switch number 1 for you, and blue, green, red, yellow, well, hello, switch number 2. Oh, and I also forgot to mention as well, watch out for the hands that appear from underneath the floor tiles. I keep forgetting he's there. But now, this is it, folks. Our final boss fight is just through that door. And up a spiral staircase to Taz's displeasure.
Well, welcome to my castle. Won't you come in and make yourselves at home?
No thanks, Doc, but your place is definitely on my list for Halloween trick-or-treating.
Huh, guess we're staying for a quick bite to eat then. Alright guys, boss fight time, and this whole fight is more or less the same as any of the other ones, you know, do a certain number of things a number of times. The Count, however, is willing to try a few new things to stop you. For starters, the fight will always start off with him hiding under one of the floor tiles. What you need to do is jump on top of him when he's holding onto one. Sounds simple, but it can feel a little bit annoying. You're barely given enough time to run up to him and squish him while he's holding onto the tile, and no, jumping on him directly doesn't count. He needs to be holding up one of the tiles. So let me give you a bit of advice. Don't waste your time chasing him around. Have your partner wait beside one of the tiles while you do the same. If he appears by your partner, swap to him and jump on him, like I did right here. And thankfully that is the only time he will ever do something like that, because afterwards he goes ahead and breaks one of the windows. So from that point, you can get Taz to give you a boost up and push one of the gargoyles into place next to the coffin. Second time and beyond, however, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive. He may block you from bouncing up to the windows, he may try to crush you with a chandelier, and he may also swoop in to attack you. Don't worry about that though, he can still be kicked, which turns him into a bat for a little while. And while in this form, you should have enough time to push those stone gargoyles as Taz. And when all 4 are in place, the gargoyles come to life and reveal the time gem for you. And with no Daffy in sight, it's finally ours for the taking.
There you are. Now the time is stabilized. Well, almost. It's not perfect, but it works. Unfortunately, some gears are still missing, and the machine doesn't run perfectly.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that, Grams. I just realized we haven't collected all of the time gears yet. No problem. Let's get them and finish the game.
Woohoo! Yeah!
Wow, fantastic! You did it all! Oh, you boys are great. Let's fit it in place.
They'll pay for that.
Good evening. My, aren't you a delicious looking duck?
Actually, I'm high in fat and very high in cholesterol. Ah! I'm back! I'm back! Hey, pal! Look here! It's me! I'm back! Hey!
Hey! What are you about to do, Furface?
You know, Granny, you may want to get some references before you hire your next exterminator.
And on that note, in the words of Porky Pig without the stutter, that's all, folks. This has been Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters for PlayStation 1. And yeah, what can I say? It's great. It's really good. Funny story, actually, I used to play this game on our PC back in the day, but about a few years ago, I discovered that after all these years, it had a PlayStation 1 version. And during one trip to CEX, if you don't know what CEX is, it's a second-hand video game and kind of gadget shop that I frequent a lot around my area where I live. But yeah, I discovered that game during one of my trips to the shops, and without hesitation, I decided to pick it up, bust out my PlayStation 1 after blowing off all the dust, and give it another playthrough. Honestly, I didn't even bother plugging in a memory card. I just, from start to finish, I managed to get 100% in a few hours. And the muscle memory, all the game's secrets, and all the game's little tidbits, yeah, it's all still right here. And for a sequel to the incredibly underrated hidden gem that was Lost in Time, yeah, I still think it's pretty good. It obviously wanted to do something to differentiate itself from Lost in Time by incorporating the co-op mechanic of using both Bugs and Taz, and I still think it does try its best to use that gimmick to its full potential. Now, will everyone else see it that way? Well, unless we decide to agree on everything, which is obviously going to be no, then yeah, I'm sorry to say we'll never see eye to eye. Put it this way, you ask me if I think that this game did a good job with its co-op mechanic, I will say yes. But I only say that behind the glasses of rose-tinted nostalgia. You ask anybody else who's probably never played it before, and they will tell you either one of two things. One, it was shoehorned in, or two, it was a waste of time and disk space, and they'll also make comparisons to the previous game and say things like, oh, but Lost in Time was better because you only had to control one character. And while I don't agree, I think the game does have a few good ideas that I unfortunately didn't get the chance to show off in a two-player playthrough. But I will happily admit that nothing really falls flat for me. I mean, maybe the bosses, I guess, maybe those fall flat in some ways. I mean, given how they all follow the routine of do this thing 3 times or more with little to no change in tactics. I mean, the only one that I can think of that was actually trying was probably Count Blood Count. I mean, Sam was a wheezing pushover, Elmer was useless, I think Bubba Chop got one new attack and that was about it. But does that stop my fun? Does lackluster boss fights stop me from enjoying this nice, cozy, easygoing game? No, of course not, no. And if I could just go off the script for a little bit here, I just want to remind everyone that these were what games used to be. All their content saved on disks smaller than a gigabyte. This is all that was is and forever will be these games. Nothing will be added, nothing will be changed, and no matter how many times you finish the game, it will forever remain the same. And if you were like me, you were just happy with your little collection, and you made those games last, draining all the content that was already there on the disc, and doing so made you feel like you were actually getting your birthday money's worth, or, you know, sometimes your Christmas gift's worth, I suppose you could say. And also, there were a few good reasons to replay them as well. Maybe you finally put aside a weekend to complete the game 100%. Maybe you play the game differently and try a challenge run. Or maybe you steel yourself and you play the game in its most brutal form. Back then, games never needed to be an ongoing experience with seasonal content or roadmaps or stupid live service malarkey. If a game was good enough to be replayed, we replayed it because we wanted to relive those good memories. And if we like it enough to share those memories with friends or family, then yeah, we're gonna do that. Hell, you don't believe me? Just try asking my friends. Every time I'm with them, I always bring up a weird video game memory with them. And it just makes me feel happy to talk about them, and I just like being with friends who talk about these kinds of things as much as I do. And you know what? It's just nice to play a game where you know when it's going to end. And you wanna know the best part? You have full control of when the game ends. Not some publisher or a twit in a suit. You. You can take your time with the game, and you can play it at your own pace, because the game isn't going anywhere. The game isn't done when the server shut down because the game didn't make enough money. It's done when you collect that final gear, see that 100% ending, put the disc back in its case, and leave it safely on the shelf, and you move on to another game until you're ready to revisit it again. That is what a game deserves to be. One disc, one console, and one guy who can revisit it whenever he wants. And as long as I have the means to play them again, there's always time for another playthrough.